Do you know which rainfall in all of Chinese poetry is the saddest? Today, I'd like to share one of the greatest and most remarkable literary works in Chinese history. It is called 八声 Ganzhou, 8 Beats of a Ganzhou Song, written by Liu Yong. However, 八声 Ganzhou is actually not the title of this work. It's called a 词牌名. Each 宋词 has a 词牌名, which refers to a literary form that stipulates the rhythm and number of characters in a work. We also have lots of elegant 词牌名 like 雨霖铃, 钗头凤, 西江月, 剪字木兰花. Now I'm going to do a brief introduction of the author, Liu Yong. He was one of the most influential 词 poets of the Northern Song dynasty. He repeatedly failed the civil service examinations and spent much of his life in frustration, displacement, and emotional solitude, although he was very talented. 8 Beats of Ganzhou was written during one of his long periods of wandering, when he lived far from home and far from the court career he had long aspired to. The poem reflects his political frustration and distress for the repeated failures, along with the homesickness and miss for the loved ones. Now I'm going to read it for you. The English edition was translated by a famous translator, Xu Yuanchu. He didn't specifically follow the original order of the words and sentences. Instead, he wanted to convey more of the artistic vibe. 对潇潇暮雨洒江天，一番洗清秋。见霜风凄景，关河冷落，残照当楼。Shower by shower, the sprinkles evening rain the sky over the river, washing cool the autumn air both far and nigh. Gradually frost falls and blows the wind so chill, but few people pass by hill or rail. In fading sunlight, drowned is my bower. So when we open this work, the first image that enters our eyes is a world soaked in rain. The drizzling rain is not simply falling. It stretches from the water to the sky, binding the entire landscape into a single sweep of gray. This is the emotional tone of the work, solitude descending with the rain. Now look at this line, 一番洗清秋. This one. Here, washing is not refreshing, but like an engaging of desolateness. The more it cleanses, the colder autumn becomes. Rain sharpens the author's sense. Then it comes to 见霜风凄景，关河冷落，残照当楼。关河, hill and rail. You can see here. Refers to the frontier that evokes how unreachable and underpopulated the place is. The fading sunlight is a beauty that soon disappears, just like the poet's own fading hopes. Then we can look at 是处红衰翠减，冉冉无华休. Everywhere the red and the green wither away. There's no more splendor of a sunny day. In China, people like to use red and green to represent flowers and trees, 衰 and 减. You can see here and here. They both means declining and fading. 冉冉 means flourishing. 休 means end. So in autumn, vitality is decaying. Time becomes visible in the diminishing colors. And yet, 唯有长江水，无与东流. Only the waves of river long silently eastward flow along. Everything perishes except time. The river becomes the embodiment of fate, constant, unstoppable, and indifferent. So at this moment, the poet says, 不忍登高临远，望故乡渺渺，归思难收. I cannot bear to climb high and look far, for to gaze where my native land is lost in mists so thick would make my lonely heart homesick. The author stands at a height, thinking and retrospecting his drifting life, distant and separation. He fears the view that easily draws him into the beautiful memories in the past and his home, and still, emotions emotion overtakes him. Homesickness is like an irrepressible tide. Now it comes to my favorite sentence in this work that makes me touching the most. 叹年来踪迹，何事苦烟柳。I sigh to see my rovings year by year. Why should I linger hopelessly now there, now here? He questions the point of drifting, of being stuck in places that his heart doesn't belong. This is the sorrow of a life unable to fulfill its ambitions. I believe it's also true for most people away from their homes, like overseas students and people working outside. Sometimes we just ask ourselves, what do we really want? Life is short, and does it really worth to stay away from our familiar people and places only for a goal that is unknown whether it will be achieved or not? 想家人，庄楼永往，雾几回，天际时归舟。From her bower my lady fair, must gaze with longing eye. How oft has she mistaken homebound sails? There is a verb that I want to emphasize. 识. Instead of looking, it's more like a process of identifying and searching. Imagine a woman waiting for years, misrecognizing distant sails again and again, having experienced countless surprises and disappointments. This is the sense of separation. The poem ends in profound stillness. 争知我，倚栏杆处，正嫩凝愁。Only horizon for those sails of mine. How could she know that I, leaning upon the rails, with sorrow frozen on my face, for her I pine? The author is also using her longing to reflect his own emotion for her. Two people, both looking toward the horizon and unable to reach at each other, their emotions equal across distance, yet remain unseen. The work concludes with heartbreaking loneliness. If we look at the Songzi in detail, we can find that the author used many images to imply his sorrow and depression, like the autumn rain, the evening rain, and like the frost, gradually frost, and chilling wind, fading red and green. The red and green away. This is why